We are live. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Happy to have you. Happy to have you today. Once again, welcome to the show. Nigerian Constitution and Your Right is a show powered by the Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria every Tuesday. And today's topic is inspired by the ongoing the presidential election in Nigeria. And I think I'll be having a few guests with me to answer and discuss and have interactive session for a few minutes, okay? The topic is rigging 2023 presidential election. Is INEC, that's the Independent National Electoral Commission, culprit and neglecting the Electoral Act 2022? Are they culprit? Are they neglecting this act? So that is the focus of our interactive session. And without further ado, because I came a little late, so I'll go ahead and welcome my guest to the show. You may have known him. He's a regular to the show. And now, welcome him now. Welcome to the program, UC Maxwell. Please introduce yourself to the audience as we dive into the conversation proper.
Okay, good evening, Dr. Edmond. It's a pleasure to be here once again to have this conversation with you. My name is UC Maxwell, the founder of Law Depth International Foundation, and we are committed to enlightening the public on laws of Nigeria and the rights they enjoy.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Welcome to the show. Thank you for always hearing and answering our call whenever we call upon you to come to the studio. Once again, I'll talk to the audience. Please take this moment to share the link, invite your friends, your family members, your well-wishers to the show so that we can all learn together and join in the conversation. Don't forget to have the comment section, whatever platform you're listening or watching from, because we stream consecutively or simultaneously on 3 different platforms. So whatever platform you're watching from, use the comment section and send in your comment, send greetings or your opinion, your what you're feeling, and especially in this moment of the electioneering, and that people have various opinion of what is going on. So this is your opportunity. Use the comment section and send in your comment and your views and your opinion in this short interactive session. And thank you very much. Back to you, UC Maxwell. I just have a few questions so that, because this is going to be a very short show because I'm pretty occupied today, but the show must go on. I didn't want to cancel that. I almost canceled today's show because I was preoccupied, but we are here and we must continue the conversation. So what do you think of the ongoing presidential election and its collation of the result? What do you think about that, UC Maxwell?
All right. It's beautiful to be in a season as this, having a democratic process as the 2023 general elections. It's been a long time coming. We've all been discussing about these elections for over a year now, and it got heated towards the elections. And the elections, or the voting process, has come and gone. Generally, I would say I am happy that the elections held. Yeah, I'm happy that the elections held, but with a lot of inconsistencies, with a lot of reports that we are getting from the elections and all. I was on ground during the elections. I would say that the election comes with a lot of sad events and one that leaves a lot of questions to answer. Elections are part of a democratic process in every democratic setting. And we have discussed about these processes in previous editions of your show. So we've seen a lot of things play out, and it begs for answers, a lot of answers, actually.
Thank you very much for that wonderful opening statement. Indeed, the election, it's a good thing it happened, but I personally am highly disappointed with the outcome of events. We've seen videos of ballot boxes being snatched and burnt into ashes. We have seen videos that even the beavers, the machines, the devices being stolen. by thugs. We've seen incidences of people, electorate, good law-abiding citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria being beaten up. I posted a video of one of the lady who was hit on the face and she was bleeding and she still came out and cast her pose. I was very touched. She's a heroine. So these are the kind of things we saw. And we saw irregularities in this election that in polling units, people, the INEC officials or the ad hoc staff were not following the guideline, the electoral guidelines. So we saw all these things and it makes uh, our hearts weary. So, so what do you think that would have done to prevent some of these irregularities? What do you think we would have done? You see, Maxwell.
All right. At the beginning of the year 2022, we were graced by the passage of the Electoral Act into law, signed by President Muhammadu Buhari. It brought a lot of what do I call it? It brought a lot of relief to citizens of the country, to stakeholders of the polity, to leaders of political parties, and key players in political events in Nigeria. However, the elections have come, and we have seen that the leadership of INEC, led by Professor Yakubu Mahmood, and his REC, his national commissioner in the person of Barrister Festus Okoye, have taken us far back as the Electoral Act of 2002, because the Electoral Act anticipated a more incorporative system of electronic devices, talking about the BVAS, as modus of accreditation, modus of transmitting results after elections have been casted and results made available. However, with the recent events going on in the country today, as we speak, collations and announcement of results are still on, but the fundamental process, I call it a prerequisite to the announcement of results laid down by law, by the Electoral Act of 2022, and the guidelines set out by INEC as a body for the conduct of these general elections, has not been followed. It has been jettisoned. And it becomes a very big problem with Nigeria being, in quotes now, the giant of Africa and the leader of democracy in Africa. What have we shown ourselves to be in the League of Nations? What can we say if we cannot conduct a free, fair, and credible elections? We've seen that ad hoc staffs, presiding officers in various polling units, we've received reports that they have failed to adhere to very simple settings. I voted on that day, on Saturday. It became a tug of war for the ad hoc staff to conduct a very quick voter education for the people who are about to vote. People at the polling units, I requested to be shown the BVAS, to see the figures on the BVAS. It created several issues before they succumbed to show us the details of the BVAS. As at about 11 o'clock when this election started, in my place, very late of course, and until about 7 p.m. when the INEC staffs left, they refused, or would I even say refused, they could not upload results. And these things have been laid out according to law by the provisions of section 60, subsection 4 and 5, and also section 64, subsection 4, 5, 6, 7 of the Electoral Act. It is there in black and white that where the prerequisite for collating an announcement of results is the existence of an already transmitted or transferred, if you like, results to the INEC viewing portal. Recall also that sometime in November and times before that, that Professor Mahmoud promised Nigerians unequivocally, with pressmen present, that INEC will make sure that they upload every result from polling units to the viewing portals before collation and announcement of results. But that is not the case today. We have seen a sham of an electoral process that has been abused today.
Thank you very much, UC Maxwell, for that wonderful submission. Once again, my audience, wherever you're watching from, whether from in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, my fellow Nigerians in diaspora, I say use the comment section, send in your comments, send in your opinion, your views on this election. The topic once again is rigging 2023 presidential election. Is INEC a culprit and neglecting the Electoral Act 2022? chime in your own views using the comment section for whatever platform you're watching from. While the legal mind, UC Maxwell, was giving his submission, one of my guests came in. So let's welcome the guest, my studio guest, Rita English. Welcome. Introduce yourself to the audience, and then I'll go ahead and.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Edmond. Greetings to you and greetings to you, Samaso, Nigerians all over the world watching right now.
Wait a minute. UC Maxwell, can you hear her? Excuse me. Sorry for interrupting. UC Maxwell, can you hear Miss Rita? Or is that
I can hear her, though her audio is very, very cracky. I don't know.
Yes, please.
Oh, really? Is it okay now?
Oh, yeah, your volume is better now. Can you, speak with that volume?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm kind of trouncing on my voice though, but it's okay. So I said thank you, Dr. Edmond, for inviting me, and greetings to you. Greetings, Yusuf Muscle. Greetings, fellow Nigerians and non-Nigerians, wherever you're watching from. My name is Rita English, and it's nice to be here again today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I will ask you the same first question I asked UC Maxwell, but I'll read one comment that just came in before we continue. So please send in your comment using the comment section. We'll have a comment here. It says INEC officials are from Channel for Emancipation of Free Nigeria. It said INEC officials are deliberately trying to set Nigeria on fire. That's a powerful statement right there. They are trying to set Nigeria on fire. We'll use that as a question to the studio guests to respond to that. But before that, Rita English, what do you think of the ongoing presidential election and the result coalition? What do you think about that? Give your opinion.
In all honesty, I'll tell you that this that's going on is not an election. It's not an election at all. This wasn't what INEC told us as Nigerians before we came out. I remember when I was talking to people, encouraging them to vote, because it's no longer new that lots of Nigerians have lost hope in the credibility of the Nigerian elections. So thousands, millions of Nigerians, they don't even want to hear the word election, okay? And that's obvious. While I was talking to them before the election, the only assurance I gave to the many Nigerians I spoke to was we are going to be using beavers this time around, electronic voting, that our votes will be transmitted immediately, right before our very own eyes. That's exactly, the opposite is what happened. I heard UC Maxwell say the PM, he's a fully unit agent left 7 o'clock, there about 7 p.m. In my case, there was an heavy wind blow that very Saturday at night. At that time, we were still at the polling unit. The rain fell, we were there, it ended, we were there, insisting that this guy should transmit the result. At the time, we caught the presiding officer stalking the password that was typed in a little piece of paper in his pocket. It got to a point, he told us it's missing, that he doesn't know where it is. That was the most criminal act I've ever seen in my entire life. Even when we showed him the video that here is you putting this thing in your pocket, what did you do to it? They insisted, and at the tail end, they said they are going to transmit it offline. So they disappointed Nigerians like no one has ever done. So this obviously cannot be referred to as an election. It's not an election, really. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful submission, Rita English, and thank you for coming to the studio. Next question is, so should we say, you guys have given description of what happened in your various polling units, and plus I wasn't on ground, but I've watched a lot of videos, I've gotten a lot of report from my people who are on ground, like and I can I can say that I can concur with your submission that indeed this election is a sham election, that it is not what we have hoped for, and it's not what we were told it's going to be. Because so now, since INEC told us one thing and end up doing another thing, would we say INEC is a culprit in rigging this election, or is it just the politicians that were rigging the election through thuggery? Let's start with UC Maxwell, and after UC Maxwell, Rita will answer the same question from your own view. Over to you, UC Maxwell.
Thank you very much, Edmond. Let me say this very clearly. Now, there is a Latin maxim that says, dura lex sed lex. It means that though the law is harsh, but it is still the law. The problem is not about who wins the election. No, it is not. Where a law, we are talking about a democratic society, where a law has prescribed a mode of achieving something, where there is a breakage in that law, the result of that thing you are supposed to achieve becomes faulty, even if it is correct. That is why we like to say that you cannot place something on nothing and expect it to stand. So by this, INEC has proven itself to be part of a rigging process, either advertently or inadvertently. I will tell you how. We saw very clearly by media reports that there were violence in some places.
And you see Maxwell is having some connection problem because he stops speaking abruptly. That is not a good sign. Just give him a few seconds. You see Maxwell.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. You are trying to give example of how INEC is culprit, either inadvertently or advertently. So go on with your explanation.
Okay. Let me take up from there. So I said we saw during the elections that there were cases of violence.
Yes.
These are as a result of supporters of political parties or party candidates themselves that advance these violences. So these are faults on the part of political candidates, political parties, and political actors. We also saw that at certain places, ballot papers and materials came very late. This is as a result of failures of INEC. We saw that in some places, elections did not hold at all. This is as a fault of both political parties and INEC officials who did not show up at all or showed up without materials. So we see that two actors have joined hands together in creating what I like to call the worst electoral process that we've ever seen since the return of democracy in 1999. INEC as the umpire in these elections, who were budgeted or who were given, have had some to the over 300 billion naira to prepare for these elections, cannot be giving us excuse. Dr. Edmond, I like to tell you that I run a bookshop and I pick up inks, stamped inks from my bookshop, and I deliver to close to 7 polling units within my vicinity and outside my vicinity. Something as small as ink for thumb printing and stamping documents. We are not present with what do they call them? With ad hoc staffs and INEC staffs. And this was a nationwide situation, not just in my polling unit. They did not even have cash to pay for these inks, which I gave to them. So there is a problem from both ends. Leave the security apart. But talking about INEC, INEC failed woefully, because if INEC had created a very clear narrative, if they had a proper planning with security agencies, we wouldn't have had so much violence as we had. There were several reports that when people were snatching ballots, that security operatives stayed and did nothing. So INEC today is going on announcing results when it has violated a clear provision of the Electoral Act 2022. It is a violation of the law, and all their actions are deemed illegal as far as I'm concerned, because you cannot place that result on nothing and expect it to stand.
Thank you. Thank you very much, UC Maxwell, for that powerful submission. Over to you, Rita English. I said I'm going to ask you the same question, so you can go ahead and answer the question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Edmond. Like UC Maxwell rightly said, in my polling unit, hmm, we had just one ink, just one for the two cubicle. And at the time, I was like, how can they just bring only one with this crowd that are here? At the end of the day, I was like, okay, let's just manage. The most important thing is everything goes well. And as for asking if, if INEC is the one corporate that is corporate here or the politicians, both of them are. On Arise TV today, on what's trending, I saw a video where thugs were dragging ballot boxes, as in where the ballot papers are. They were dragging them. It was citizens in that video. Citizens were dragging the ballot boxes with these thugs, while the police who are supposed to do their job were there standing. They were there standing. It is now citizens that were now doing their job. At the end of the day, the thugs were able to destroy everything. The whole police was. And then, of course, we saw a video of that young woman that was stabbed on her face. She went out, fixed herself, came back again to vote. And then so those ones were sponsored by by political parties. And then for INEC, they refused to do what they promised us. Still on what's trending today, I saw a video, I think that was 6 months ago, September, where Yakub Mahmoud was assuring Nigerians, always talking about citizenship. He said if he does not transmit, as in if he does not do the election, the process, if he does not make it credible, that means it's not for the citizen. He says, after all, the essence of the whole process is for the citizen's voice to be heard and for their vote to be counted. So this man gave so much assurance to Nigerians. And that was why Nigerians came out in their numbers like I've never seen before. According to Dilip Farotimi, he said the only time we had something similar to what we had this time was during the time of Abiola or something, but it's not even as massive as what we got right now. Because Nigerians, we believed and we trusted Yakub Mahmoud, but the man failed. He failed us woefully. Woefully. And that's why I said at first that this cannot be called an election. So INEC is the big rigor of this very election, obviously as it is.
Thank you very much. Thank you for a wonderful submission. So we'll go back to the comment section to see the comment that people sent. This was the first comment that was sent by Channel for Emancipation of Free Nigeria. He said INEC officials are deliberately trying to set Nigeria on fire. So I'll give UC Maxwell to respond to that. What do you think about that comment? Then the next comment here by Chini Rufina said, greetings everyone, this election is one of the worst ever. It's just heartbreaking. Okay, everybody have similar opinion on that. So, and next comment said INEC is corporate because if they notice any irregularities in results, they can reject it, but they accepted this result. So the rigging is supported by INEC. All right. So UC Maxwell, back to the first comment. Do you think INEC officials are deliberately trying to set Nigeria on fire?
All right. Well, to every reaction, there was an earlier action. And like they say, to every action, there is a reaction. So INEC has given us a lot of actions. I've given the citizens of Nigeria a lot of actions. I'm aware that political candidates signed peace accords here and there, but it is not enough that they signed these peace accords. But when we talk about setting Nigeria on fire, recall, and I had Rita said something. majority of the new registrants we saw in the INEC register, in the INEC voter register, were or came out to register because of the confidence that was built in them on the fairness of the process. They were assured that the process was going to be fair or fairer than it has ever been. And to think that the fairness and credibility of this process is being truncated by the body who promised the same fairness and is actually given the leverage to uphold this fairness begs for a lot of answers. So citizens are already angry. I hope you are aware, Dr. Edmond, that people are already taking to the streets. There were pockets of protest in Abuja. There were some pockets of protest in, I think, Delta State. In fact, the one in Delta State, I heard that these women were tear gassed and chased away by security operatives. We will see more of this, because when a result, and like I said, I'm not even speaking because of who is winning or who is not winning. But when a result does not show the true spirit and dictates of the people, it becomes a problem. And like I said, even if it is showing what the people wanted, it has to be in accordance to the law. It is very, very important and fundamental, because one of the principles of a democratic and federating nation is the fact that the rule of law must be upheld. And rule of law is simply adhering to the provisions of the law, because the law is higher than everybody. Be you the king, the law is higher than you. So it doesn't matter what the results are. INEC should do the needful and stick to the provisions of the law. If not, I fear that we would see a lot of fire coming up. And like Asha sang in her song, there is fire on the mountain, and we can see that.
Mountain, there is fire on the mountain top. All right, let me stop there. Next reaction goes to Rita English. The comment from Joe Chukwike. He says, INEC is rigorous. Nigerians should hold INEC responsible. So, Ms. Rita, do you think Nigerians should hold INEC responsible, and how? How?
For me, sure. It is INEC that we will hold accountable, because they were given 305 billion naira to conduct this election. 305 billion naira is a whole lot of money. They have excess money to throw around. Even when Yakub Mahmoud complained that there was no money, there was no fuel, Nigerians lent their voices. We all put our voices out. Call on the government to make sure everything they needed is provided so we can get a smooth, free, and fair election. But in spite of everything,
okay. I'm sorry for interrupting. I can hear you. Sorry for interrupting, but I'm running out of time because I'm actually at work at the moment. I was coding to work unexpectedly, so that's why I started late, and I'm going to finish early. I actually wanted the show to go for 1 hour because it's an important conversation, but I couldn't. So we're going to do it 30 minutes, and we're here 28 minutes already. So what I'm going to do now, you guys are going to give closing remark, and how this closing remark is going to contain the things that's going on right now. People are protesting, as UC Maxwell pointed out, and we have seen it. We've seen pockets of protests going on around the country, and they want to get bigger and bigger. So in your closing remark, include this ongoing event, and how can we ensure it does not engulf us as a nation, it does not destroy us as a nation, as a people, and as a nation, and proffer a way forward to so that we can have we can save our nation and have the Nigeria of our dreams. So that should be your closing remark, and this will be 1 minute each. Sorry for cutting this interactive session short. I wish it's longer, but that's the only time I have. Over to you. Let's start with UC Maxwell. Your 1 minute closing remark and giving this whole summary. And after you, then Rita. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I would tell citizens to, if you like to protest, please do protest, because it is within your right as a citizen of a country to protest. I would only ask you that during your protest, try as much as possible to be peaceful and not violent during your protest. And I call on all security operatives and the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, to treat protesters like eggs. Please do not open fire on protesters. And I'll call on INEC to go through the laws and do the needful, that they have the authority to actually correct this wrong that they have made. Past presidents of Nigeria have written letters to INEC and all that. I call on INEC to please follow the procedures of the law. Make sure that there is an upload to its viewing portal before announcement of results so that people can be able to checkmate this result. Remember that INEC remains the umpire, and we must not hear them that they are just. We must also see them act to be just, because we want a fair, just, equitable, and credible electoral process in Nigeria, so that Nigeria does not turn.
All right, UT Maxwell having challenge there. But that's the time we'll have for that. Thank you, UT Maxwell, for your wonderful closing remark. So over to you, Rita English. Give your 1 minute closing remark, and we'll go.
Yeah, to me, I would say that INEC should stop calling the sham they're calling as result right now. For me, I would say they should start all over, because the fact is the results have been doctored. They have so many result sheets that they have been posting right now. We see so many cancellations, so many things have gone wrong already. So the only remedy from that I think right now is to cancel the whole of this process and begin all over with results going straight to the INEC portal as soon as the elections are concluded in the polling units. We saw the results they called from Ikeh. The day that result was uploaded was 20th of February, and elections were held on 25th. How is that possible? So they should cancel everything and start again. Let them make Nigerians know that we can trust them. If not, it's not going to be business as usual. Nigerians traveled from all over the world into Nigeria for this election because they are tired of the status quo, and we are determined to change that. So the only thing that can restore peace.
Thank you very much.
Make sure the process is free and fair and seen by everybody to the soul. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful closing remark. My fellow Nigerians, you've heard from my two wonderful, amazing studio guests. They have given their opinion, the assessment of what went on, the election, the coalition, and all that. And have given their opinion of how we should move forward as a people and as a nation or as a country. So the topic for today's conversation is the rigging of 2023 presidential election. Is INEC a culprit, and also neglecting to follow the Electoral Act 2022. And from all we have seen, INEC is a culprit. And what makes them a culprit, in my opinion, is because they did not follow the laid down law. They fought hard for this law to be amended and be approved and be passed by both houses, the Senate and the House of Assembly, and then assented by the president, who fought really hard. We supported INEC. We made noise. We say, President Buhari, you must sign, you must sign. And all this effort cannot be thrown in the dustbin. So, and the law was assented. Then let's put the law to work. Let's follow the law step by step, letter to letter, word to word, sentence by sentence. And that was what they promised us. They said they're going to do that, but they have not done that. That makes INEC a culprit to rigging of this presidential election. And the thing is that as the electoral umpire, the law also empower them to correct all these things, so they can actually correct this mistake, this error. They have sinned, and they can confess their sin now and then amend their ways. They can do that now. They can do that because they have the power. The power has been given to them by the same Electoral Act 2022. So I support the submission of both of my guests that this election, this to be corrected, and the correction can be throwing out some of the bad results or canceling the whole election and starting afresh. These are options. They know the best way to do, but the best way is following the law, the Electoral Act. The Electoral Act said that there is 4 layers of scrutinizing the result before calling the result. At the polling unit, at the ward level, at the local government level, at the state level, before the National Collation Center announces the result. So these are the levels, but at this level, they keep saying mistakes and mistakes, and they failed at the first level was a total failure. They did not upload the results. So that failure itself, that's a fundamental failure. They would have just halt calling the results. Anyway, they can amend that, and we hope they amend that, and we're calling on them to amend that. And I'm calling on my fellow brothers and sisters in Nigeria, especially the youths, please, let's not burn our country down, because it's still our country. It's the only country but we can fight. We should fight and keep asking and demanding that the mistake, the error, the rigging must be corrected. And we hope it is done, and it's done fast. And this is where I leave you. And I hope to see you guys again next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Nigerian time, 2 p.m. US Central Time, or 3 p.m. US Eastern Time. Thank you once again, UC Maxwell. Thank you, Rita English, for coming to the studio. Have a wonderful rest of your day.